the January 6th narrative is completely unraveling.
Yep.
Okay. Which means Congress and the executive branch can no longer stop the legal community and a whole lot of people from sticking their nose into why did they need an emergency to rig the election? And where did all the money come from to rig the election? And if you look at what Silicon Valley Bank and some of these banks were doing in terms of they were financing FTX, and so, well, they were financing Silvergate, financing FTX. So
Right.
if you look at the money trail on the Ukraine and rigging the election, or if you look at, even more importantly, the pushing money out on the pandemic to life science and biotech companies to come up with the various things they're prototyping as part of the pandemic. I don't think Washington, D.C. can afford a deep look at the money trail on the Ukraine and FTX vis-a-vis the election, or vis-a-vis the pandemic and life sciences and all the crazy biotech things that were going on out there. So I have some serious questions about what are the files in those loan portfolios, and what would they say about those two things? Because somebody is grabbing the documents and shutting down the document trail here.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are they afraid of? If I'm an investment analyst, I can look at balance sheets and I can estimate, what makes sense and blah, blah. But if the New York Fed member banks are engineering runs and taking banks down for politics, how do I predict what's good and what's not good?
One of the things I've said about once you don't have the rule of law, they just change the rules whenever they want.
Right.
All bets are off.
Right. We're in. I mean, it's like mob wars. It's not a financial system anymore. It's a mob war.
No,
Right.
it's like, welcome to my casino run by criminals.
Right.
Well, I don't want to go to a casino run by criminals.
But
that sounds like a bad idea.
Well, you can't leave it unless we start our own currencies, right? So
you can't leave it.
Right.
That's what the CBDC means. Now you just can't leave, like they said.
But here's what's going on, because I see it at the local level, I see it at the state level, I see it at the federal level, and what we're talking about is a major part of this. There is an absolute war over whether or not we will have financial transaction freedom or not.
Yeah.
And if you look at all the people who are trying to make sure we don't and control it, they are warring about who's going to have what position on the monopoly board. So you got a war between the decentralizers and the centralizers, but then the centralizers are fighting among themselves. And if you think it's bad now, it's going to get much worse.
Let's go to the January 6th story. I like this next one because it takes the gloves off. So this guy is looking at the footage that's recently released, and he's saying, okay, let's time the footage with what was going on in real time inside the chambers. And that's really what this piece is about and what he gets at here. So he presents his review, his conclusions, his questions and answers. Question: how do you prevent Congress from delaying the certification of state electoral votes? Answer: it requires a crisis that creates an emergency. Literally 3 minutes before two representatives issued a vote for motions to suspend the certification, the House members were informed by Capitol Police and other agents that a protest was about to breach the chambers. How about that? How'd they know that? It was at this time the key people, Pence, Pelosi, Schumer, McConnell, can be seen being walked out and escorted from the chamber. This effectively halted the entire chamber process. Question: why was it necessary to halt the chamber process? Answer: the crisis was created to eliminate the motion challenges and halt the certification.
They were that close to losing control.
Yeah.
Would you want to be the Fed chairman and roll out CBDCs without pulling in the guns?
Right. No, you're right.
Right.
Right. I don't, that's a problem. They've got a problem on their hands for that very reason.